Welcome back to QuickReadVault, the channel where the world's most powerful books are unlocked in minutes. If you enjoy mystery, hidden knowledge, and stories that make you think deeper about reality, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new summary. Today we dive into The Secret of Secrets by Dan Brown, a gripping Robert Langdon thriller filled with codes, danger, and a global mystery that challenges everything we think we know. The most dangerous secrets are the ones hidden in plain sight. This novel asks a haunting question. What if humanity's greatest secret isn't lost, but deliberately hidden? As a reader, this book felt like classic Dan Brown, fast, intelligent, and suspenseful, but also deeper and more philosophical, pushing us to question consciousness, truth, and control. Let's begin. The novel opens in Prague, a city Dan Brown chooses with intention. Prague is historically associated with alchemy, secret knowledge, and intellectual movements that operated outside official power. Robert Langdon arrives believing he is stepping into a familiar academic environment, but that expectation is quickly dismantled. A renowned scientist has vanished, leaving behind research that many considered dangerous, not because it was false, but because of what it implied. Langdon is confronted with a symbol that immediately resists classification. It does not belong to a single religion or era. Instead, it appears to merge multiple traditions that should never logically intersect. This is the first signal that the mystery is not about one culture's secret, but about something shared and deliberately fragmented. What makes this opening effective is its restraint. The threat is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, intellectual, and already in motion before Langdon understands its scale. The novel establishes early that this is not a race to discover something new, but a struggle to recover something intentionally buried. This beginning felt confident and mature. The danger doesn't rely on spectacle. It relies on the unsettling idea that knowledge itself can be treated as a liability. That tone immediately sets this book apart as more reflective than purely action-driven. As Langdon follows the trail left by the missing scientist, the story introduces a secret society whose origins stretch far beyond modern political or religious institutions. This group does not see itself as powerful in a traditional sense. They see themselves as custodians, guardians of something humanity once possessed collectively. Through manuscripts, architectural clues, and fragmented records, Langdon uncovers the society's core belief that early human civilizations shared a unified understanding of existence. Over time, this understanding became threatening to centralized authority. Knowledge was filtered, simplified, and eventually rewritten to preserve control and predictability. What makes this society compelling is that it is not driven by greed or chaos. Its members genuinely believe they are protecting humanity from itself. They argue that unfiltered truth, delivered too early, can destabilize entire civilizations. This section stood out because of its moral ambiguity. Dan Brown avoids presenting easy villains. Instead, he presents conviction. Every side believes it is acting responsibly. That tension forces the reader to ask an uncomfortable question. If knowledge has consequences, who should decide when it is safe to share? At the core of the mystery lies the missing scientist's most controversial idea, one that challenges both science and religion without aligning fully with either. His research suggests that consciousness does not originate in the brain, but instead interacts with it. The brain, in this view, functions more as a receiver than a generator. This concept threatens multiple foundations at once. Neuroscience risks losing its material certainty. Religious institutions risk losing their exclusive authority over the soul. Even modern technology faces implications, particularly in artificial intelligence and human identity. As news of this research spreads quietly among powerful institutions, urgency replaces curiosity. Governments fear instability. Corporations see opportunity. Religious authorities fear erosion of belief systems built over centuries. Langdon once again occupies his familiar position between worlds that claim to oppose each other, yet now appear united by fear. Neither science nor faith is portrayed as malicious. Instead, both are shown struggling with the limits of their own explanations. This part was deeply unsettling in a productive way. The novel doesn't argue for a conclusion. It exposes uncertainty. It forces the realization that humanity may be far less certain about consciousness than it pretends to be. The narrative accelerates as Langdon follows clues scattered across multiple continents. From Istanbul to Jerusalem, the same symbolic patterns reappear, embedded in architecture, encoded in ancient languages, and preserved through ritual rather than text. Each location reinforces the same idea. This knowledge was never meant to belong to a single group. Langdon realizes that ancient civilizations did not hide the truth by locking it away. They preserved it by distributing it, breaking it into fragments that could survive conquest, censorship, and collapse. Memory, not force, became the method of preservation. The chase is not just physical, it is intellectual. Each discovery narrows the time window before the truth is either erased permanently or weaponized by modern powers that misunderstand it. This section delivers the momentum Dan Brown is known for. Short chapters, escalating stakes, and constant movement keep the narrative engaging, while the intellectual puzzle remains central. You feel both urgency and curiosity, which is a difficult balance to maintain, and the novel succeeds here. When Langdon finally reaches the core of the mystery, the revelation avoids spectacle. There is no device, no machine, no catastrophic trigger. Instead, the secret is conceptual. It reframes how ancient civilizations understood human awareness itself. The novel suggests that consciousness was once viewed as humanity's primary tool, a shared capacity that shaped culture, ethics, and perception. Over time, society traded that awareness for efficiency, structure, and control. Progress advanced, but at the cost of introspection. This revelation is deliberately understated. Dan Brown resists the temptation to shock. Instead, he allows the idea to settle slowly, encouraging reflection rather than awe. This moment felt earned. The book doesn't try to impress you with complexity. It invites you to consider how modern life constantly fragments attention and how much awareness might already be slipping away unnoticed. In the final section, Langdon faces a decision with no heroic resolution. Revealing the truth could destabilize belief systems, governments, and social order. Hiding it preserves stability, but reinforces a reality built on partial understanding. The novel emphasizes that timing matters as much as truth itself. Knowledge delivered without readiness can be destructive, even if it is accurate. Langdon must decide whether humanity is prepared for a fundamental shift in self-understanding. The ending avoids triumph. There is no clear victory, only consequence. The story closes quietly, leaving space for the reader rather than providing certainty. This ending felt respectful. It trusts the audience to sit with ambiguity. Instead of answers, it leaves responsibility. And that choice aligns perfectly with the book's central theme. Knowledge changes the world, but wisdom determines whether that change heals or harms. What stayed with me most after finishing The Secret of Secrets was the way the story is built. It doesn't rely only on constant action. The plot moves fast, but the ideas move slowly, and that balance works very well. Dan Brown takes familiar elements, symbols, history, science, and connects them more carefully than before. The story feels structured but not rigid. Each part leads naturally to the next, and the mystery grows without feeling forced. I appreciated that the book doesn't try to give clear answers to everything. It focuses more on asking the right questions and letting the reader think. By the end, the story doesn't just finish, it stays with you. You keep thinking about its ideas even after closing the book, which is something not all thrillers manage to do. Now I'm curious about your opinion. Do you enjoy stories that leave you with questions, or do you prefer clear answers at the end? Tell me what you think in the comments. I'd really like to read your take. Thank you for listening to QuickReadVault. If you enjoyed this summary, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. I wish you a great listening experience, and I'll see you in the next book.